Hello everyone, and thank you for clicking on another one of my videos. I am Screen Scene Guru, and today I'll be covering the 2020 monster film Underwater. This is led by star Kristen Stewart from the Twilight franchise, so really exciting work here. I've seen this film at least 3 times, but I think this is the first time covering it on the channel. So really interesting film, guys. So let's dive on in. So starting off, we've got director William Ebank. I haven't heard of him before, but just checking him out real quick. I am on IMDb. Let's see what some of his work is. Let's see, Land of Bad, The Signal, Underwater, Love. Okay, haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but he's known for cinematographer in Awakening World, Crave. So interesting stuff. House of Rising Sun. But it looks like this is his big break in 2020. This film Underwater. So that's really cool to see. Going into the story for Underwater, we've got a crew of deep sea researchers working on a drilling company try to get to safety after a mysterious earthquake devastates their deep water research drilling facility located at the bottom of the Marina Trench. So really exciting news, guys. I think a lot of this stuff might be happening today. Kind of harkens back to stories like Alien with the cinematography, the first Alien with Ridley Scott. Also, it's like The Abyss with James Cameron, but they do add the creature feature to it. Similar to The Abyss, only in The Abyss the creatures are here to help us, where this is very Lovecraftian. I love the fact that they go into the, I don't know if you want to call it Cthulhu or Leviathan, whatever you like to call it, creature, cryptid. There are many of them in the deep oceans. Dogon, many cultures talk about them coming out of the water and speaking with people or even taking people. This movie is a perfect example of that. We see humanoid-sized ones attacking the crew, and then eventually we see the big one that they all apparently live off of. So that's very interesting. I think this movie gets, doesn't give enough love. It is a gem because of the acting in it. They mention, they have to do a walk across the bottom of the ocean floor to another facility down there to try to get to these pods to hopefully get to the surface, but these creatures are attacking them. Very interesting, they use a signal, I believe, from the station to distract the creature while they send the last 2 survivors up. Kristen Stewart stays behind because her character is kind of a melancholy, depressed from her husband being dead. So I thought that was very interesting. But there was a deleted scene, if you guys watched the Blu-ray, bought the disc, physical media, where her transport escape pod was malfunctioning, couldn't get a right signal, and she ended up taking off her wedding ring. I have the ring from Lord of the Rings, but she needed a current to make the pod work, and in the deleted scene she lived. Her pod escaped, so very fascinating. But in the theatrical cut a lot of people saw, they ended with her dying. I think this was for the awards show. They wanted it to win big prestigious awards, but I think it was nominated but didn't get any. So sad for Kristen Stewart. I know she was in the rebooted Charlie's Angels that she got a lot of flack for. She recently got married, so congratulations. She's doing it up on life. But going into some more of the cast for this Underwater in 2020, guys. I watched this on Prime Video. I rented it. So it's awesome. You guys can check it out there like I did. Like I said, Kristen Stewart plays Nora. And then we've also got the captain, Vincent Castell. He was really good in this. Kind of a rough, tough seaman, but very interesting, eclectic cast. We also got T.J. Miller, which my brother was asking why we don't see more of him. He was kind of Me Too canceled after the events of Deadpool 2. But he is trying to get work out there again, I guess. Interesting, we got John Gallagher Jr., as Liam, and then Henwick as the other lead female, Emily, and she lived with Liam. They escaped in the last working pod, and there's even news reports in the end credits of them surviving and then the company wanting to drill again. I thought it was really cool to see her because she was an Iron Fist. She's rumored to come back to Marvel, so that's really cool. Fantastic news. And possibly in a Heroes for Hire TV show. So that's very fascinating. But going on from this underwater review, I've got some movie news and book news. I've recently gotten to Chapter 6 of Dark Force Rising. It's a really interesting novel here by Timothy Zahn. This is book 2. I highly recommend you guys picking this up and reading it. I got this on the discounted books section online. I think I can leave a link down below, but basically it's a website through Amazon that sells discounted library books. So very interesting. Like this one had a classic retro cover art, where the other ones I believe had been reprinted art, but they're all the same story. But going into the events of Chapter 5, we saw, I believe his name is Gerard, was talking to Mira Jade. They're on this new outpost base running from bounty hunters, and they're running from the Empire after they betrayed Grand Admiral Thrawn and didn't give up Luke Skywalker in the events of the first book, Heir to the Empire. Going into this, we got to see Mara Jade question Gerard, her boss, criminal smuggler, who has many outposts and bases. He divulged to her that he came across a dark fleet of dreadnought-class ships that were completely abandoned, derelict, from post-Clone War era. So this is very fascinating. We heard about in Legends and other book continuities, before the events of Clone Wars ended, there was a fleet being made by Palpatine. Palpatine ordered a fleet to be designed, a mix of clone and human occupants, but a fleet that could possibly win them the war. But this fleet disappeared in the events of the Clone Wars. They discuss in the novel that it went down because of a flu. There was a virus that was spreading. They actually mentioned this in Dave Filoni's Clone Wars. There's a couple episodes where there's an outbreak of a flu in an underground facility that the Empire was working on, and they ended up having to firebomb the planet, I believe, and get rid of everybody. Ahsoka almost died because of it. She was exposed. It's a very interesting story there. I think it was a two-part story. But Gerard basically tells Mara Jade that all of the crew died. The ships were left abandoned. He knows where they are. He marked the coordinates, and he could sell them to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn, or he could give them to the Alliance, the New Republic, and he has to make a choice. And Mara Jade, of course, is asking why doesn't he just simply give them to Thrawn? He's willing to pay double, but Gerard knows that in the outcome, the Alliance is more likely to overcome, even if he gives them the ships, and that would burn him of the bridges he could get from the Alliance. It's a very fascinating story. Now we're going into, Amira Jade just came back to their facility. She's on the run, telling them they need to go. They packed up all their stuff from this base, and they took off to light speed to a new camp. It's a very interesting story. I'm enthralled by it, guys. So definitely highly recommend reading Dark Force Rising. Check out all the Star Wars books. Just pick one up, whatever you like, depending on the cover or whatever, and check them out. So going on to some movie news and television news. I've got a bit of a script written out for you guys. But we've got Jurassic World Rebirth reviews are coming in. Mixed reviews. There's some loving it, saying the visuals are fantastic, and others saying that the story doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't give us anything new, it's a dead franchise. So very interesting opinions from some that have already seen it. It has not come out here where I live yet, but I'm very eagerly excited for it. Going on let's see, we've got Harold and Kumar 4 has been greenlit. I do want to mention that because it has been making the rounds in the industry trades. Some of the cast are set to return, like the infamous Harold and Kumar, but we do not know if Neil Patrick Harris will reprise his role or not, or they might replace him with someone else. It's kind of hard to do that film without him. He was kind of a lynch point for it, or the crux, if you will. Ironheart is set to blast off June 24th with a 3-episode premiere, so very much like Andor. I'm excited for the show because it's supposed to tell the story Black Panther 2 set up. 28 years later, it's having really good reviews right now. I posted on my TikTok, Instagram about it. The reviews are just pouring in, saying they love the visuals and the story from Danny Boyle, but the ending is getting a lot of controversy. So depending on how you like, I guess, the way it ends, it's very comic-like, they've said, and it is setting up the Bone Temple coming out next year, but the third film is not yet financed, so that's very fascinating to hear. Spider-Man Brand New Day, rumored to include Shang-Chi, the Hulk, Bruce Banner, and John Bernthal's Punisher. So I'm not sure if any of these claims are true. They're coming from, reports like Daniel RPK and other scoopers. So I'm just telling what I've heard. Take it how you will. A24's Crystallake series begins filming and is now in production. So that's very exciting to hear. I'm a big Friday the 13th man, so I love that they're doing that. I just watched Death of the Unicorn from A24, so very confident in that studio. They've released a comic book line called Predator Kills the Marvel Universe, and I think that's very interesting, given that the films we're getting out from the new studio, Disney, 20th Century Fox. This comic book line might be adapted. I'm just wondering. In live action. Return to Silent Hill first poster hit the internet, and it's dropping January 2026. So that's really exciting news. I had heard nothing about a new Silent Hill project, but Silent Hill returns. So that's very cool. Aubreyplaza is set to play Death in multiple MCU projects, so she will reprise her role. The Boys' final season has wrapped filming from Amazon, and they said they're currently working on the spin-offs, but they're pretty much all done too. Gen V is coming out in September, so that's really exciting. So going back to my previous news about Heroes for Hire, guys, if you're a big fan of the comic, we're hearing that Kirsten Ritter is going to be returning as Jessica Jones in not only Daredevil Born Again Season 2, she's going to reprise her role in her own series. We're going to be getting Luke Cage back, supposedly. We haven't heard confirms yet, but they're all going to return with the new Iron Fist. They're going to, I guess, adapt someone from the comics. It's not going to be Danny Rand, but that's what I'm hearing. Very interesting. They're saying it might be like the Ancient One showing up, so that's fascinating. So moving on from there, Heroes for Hire, possibly in 2027. So this is 2 years out. And a Disney Plus show, that would be a lot of production for something like that. So I'm not sure. Going on, we've got, let's see, Apple TV is releasing a movie called The Lost Bus with actor McConaughey. So that's really cool. He's also going to be in a film from Skydance Studios, adapting the Mike Hammer crime novels, True Detective style, with Michael McConaughey. So that's really cool. A lot of people are reporting on this because the Mike Hammer books were adapted by Max Allan Collins, who does a cameo on Let's Get Physical Media on Robert Meyer's show at the Burnett Work. So plug to him. Definitely go out to that show and subscribe to him. Very knowledgeable. Moving on to some other really cool news. Daryl Dixon Season 3 is getting greenlit. It's going to drop in September. Continuing the Walking Dead franchise with Carol. Carol's now there. So that's very interesting. Kala Lang is cast as Xiaoling in legendary Street Fighter. So we're getting casting updates all the time for new projects. So it's very cool to hear. What do you guys think of the news? Have you guys checked out Underwater before? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like the video, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, all over at Scene Screen Guru for future updates on industry and everything coming out, everything I'm watching, reading, and doing up. But I'm signing off. Have a good day. Ciao. Take it easy. And I'll see you in another video. Till next time. Bye-bye.